So let's begin by going through the top table. We've got the former two-weight world champion, unified cruiserweight champion of the world, and WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Mr. David Haye, to my left. Alongside him, we've got the Olympic silver medalist, Joy Joyce, one of the most decorated amateur boxers of all time, represented Great Britain with great distinction over the course of a fantastic amateur career, now looking to step into the professional ranks. Then we've got Adam Morley, the manager of Joy Joyce. We'll hear from him later on. We've got Tamuka Mucha, challenger for the English welterweight title. And then down at the far side, we've got the reigning world youth champion from St. Petersburg, Russia last year, where he represented Scotland. And that man is Willie Hutchinson. To my right, we've got Steve North, the director of the television channel Dave, who have partnered with Hayemake Ringstar for this television partnership of some significant boxing events. We've got Ian Lewison, distinguished heavyweight out of McGuell's boxing gym in Brixton, South London, distinguished amateur representing England and a solid professional over the years, former Southern Area heavyweight champion. Then we've got the distinguished coach of world title challengers, Mr. Don Charles. He's the man coaching Ian Lewison. And then if I can just see him behind the big heavyweight, see him sit back, man. And we've got John O'Donnell out of Shepherd's Bush, former Commonwealth champion, current English welterweight title holder. He's defending his title on this bill that we're about to discuss. And then at the very end of the table, Michael Page goes by the nickname Venom, hence the acronym MVP, former kickboxing world champion, mixed martial artist looking for the transition through to the noble art, where he hopes to make an impact in the super middleweight ranks. So, those are the distinguished gentlemen up on the top table. And earlier this year, we saw the announcement of Hayemake Ringstar Promotions. David Haye has had promotional control for a large portion of his professional boxing career. But then the Hayemaker brand teamed up with one of the most influential figures in all of boxing, Mr. Richard Schaefer, who was integral to the rise of Golden Boy Promotions, the eponymous promotional company of Oscar De La Hoya. They've put a team together, and as you can see from the talent they've assembled, they want to be known as the home of champions. So we've got David Haye, who is still active as a boxer, but he's here this morning in strictly a promotional capacity. We're going to hear from him shortly. And then alongside me is Steve North, General Manager of Dave TV. That's one of the free-to-air television packages as part of UK TV. Extensive reach all across the country, particularly with the demographic that is so key to television broadcasters, 16 to 34 years of age, those with lots of disposable income apparently, very desirable demographic. And Steve, if we just could begin with you, Dave TV staged David Haye's comeback in January 2016, where he returned from his absence from the boxing ring to face Mark Damori. That TV event for your channel broke all types of records. We saw empirical numbers that it was 400% up on slot, that it beat Channel 4 for the duration that the fight was on. And here we are now, an announcement has been made that Hayemake Ringstar will have 5 free-to-air televised events over the next 3 years. Just tell us, how does the sport of boxing fit in your portfolio? Why did you feel the desire to get involved with the sport of boxing and Hayemake Ringstar in particular?
Thanks, Ronald. I think, for us on Dave, we're always looking to bring great content and great shows and great entertainment to our viewers. And you mentioned the David's 2 fights he did on Dave, and they were beyond great entertainment and great content and great viewing for our viewers. They were exceptional and astonishing. And the numbers, over 3 million people tuning in to watch David fight is absolutely phenomenal for us as a broadcaster. So what I think is really exciting about that is it shows the desire still of the public to watch more boxing and how keen they are to see that. And what Dave can do is that we can bring that free to air to people. So there's no cost, there's no Sky subscription, there's no Virgin subscription, no pay kind of barrier to that. It's opportunity for everyone to watch the great fights. So that's why we kind of teamed up with Dave in the first time. And I think we created 2 wonderful nights of boxing, 2 great events. And this is a new opportunity. This hour is about utilising those skills and experience that both David and Richard have to bring forward the next generation of fighters. And that's what's really exciting. Looking up and down this table, the number of world champions in their amateur careers, the Olympians that they have here, the quality of boxing that we're now taking to the professional ring was an opportunity. When we talked to David about it, it was just too good to turn up, and it's incredibly exciting, and we kind of can't wait for 20th of October and the fights to begin.
Indeed, that first Hayemake Ringstar event on Dave TV, part of the UK TV family of channels, is on October the 20th, coming to you from the Indigo Theatre at the O2 Arena. So let's speak to the man whose brand is part of the promotional company that we're here discussing this morning, David Haye, the former unified cruiserweight champion of the world, WBA heavyweight champion of the world in his time as well, defeating Nikolai, the beast of the East Valuev, to ascend to that lofty position. Still got ambitions in the boxing ring, but we're going to talk this morning about your role as a promoter. So we've got this bill, we've got these emerging talents that you've signed, so many of them had distinguished amateur careers. And the top of the bill is a 10-round, 3-minute heavyweight bout between a debutante, Mr. Joy Joyce, who we've discussed already, and a veteran of the fight scene, Mr. Ian Lewison. Now, I don't just work in the sport, I'm a fan of the sport. When I saw the announcement of that bill, lots of questions went through my mind. A debutante fighting over 10 3-minute rounds? A debutante who's never fought before, fighting a man who's an intercontinental champion? A debutante fighting a man who in his last contest fought for the British title. So, you know, as a fighting man yourself, fighters will fight anybody.
100%.
Have you given your man too much too soon? Why was this fight made?
I don't believe I've given him too much. I believe Joy Joyce is the future of the heavyweight division. Speaking to his management team, speaking to his coach Ismail Salas, watching him inspiring day in, day out, I know this guy has all the tools to not only have a successful career, but to literally be the best heavyweight on the planet. I'm just fortunate that I'm 37 next year and I'm getting out of the game pretty soon, because this guy, as I said, they call him the juggernaut for a reason. He just keeps coming. And I've known Ian Lewison for many, many years. Both grew up in South London, and we both boxed London together, I believe, and England, both on the England squads together. So I've known him a long time, watched his career, I've seen what he's done. He went over to China not long ago and beat an unbeaten fighter. So he's a real contender. But I don't see Joe as a contender. I see him as one of the best. It sounds crazy without having one professional fight, but he has had 15 WSB fights, which are kind of professional fights anyway. So he's very seasoned, he's very conditioned, and believe it or not, going into round 5 and round 6 is when Joe really starts to warm up and really get going. So putting him in a 6th rounder, I believe wouldn't be beneficial for him and his style. I think the longer the fight would be, the better he'll be. And obviously speaking to Ismail Salas, his coach, who's trained 19 world champions, this guy was the guy who took Felix Savon from rowing to boxing. He taught him his first jab, his first right hand, and he's been working diligently behind the scenes with Joe to fine-tune his style. And what I'm seeing on a daily basis, what he's doing in sparring, you know, he sparred hundreds of rounds with Joshua, he was recently sparring Hughie Fury, Gorman. He's been in with everyone. He's actually off tomorrow to Las Vegas to spar with Bermain Stavern, former heavyweight champion of the world. So you can't look at this guy as a zero fight novice. You know, as far as I'm concerned, watching him, he's a genuine heavyweight contender. But you guys don't know that yet. One thing I wanted to make sure was Ian Lewison had ample notice for this fight. Had 11 weeks notice to prepare. I've seen, for instance, when he fought Dylan White, he had very short notice, I think 3 weeks or so he wasn't in the best shape. So you didn't see the best Ian Lewison. I wanted to make sure we get the best Ian Lewison so we have a real fight. I believe my guy is going to win. I know Don Charles is a very good coach. He'll make sure his man, with ample notice, is in fantastic shape. So you've got a genuine, real fight. Top of the bill, and it's free to air on Dave. I believe everybody tuning in is going to get a great night's entertainment. I know what I believe is going to happen. I'm sure Ian Lewison has other ideas. As I said, he's a seasoned campaigner. He's been around the game as long as I have, you know. And I'm confident. I'm happy that the fans are. As soon as the fight was announced, sort of unofficially a few days ago, I was getting calls going, "Is this right? Is this really happening?" Yes, it's happening, and you're going to get the opportunity for free to watch. You know, Joy Joyce, the juggernaut, set his career in motion. And also you've got, you know, Willie Hutchinson, you know, a young guy just turned 19 years old. He's been out doing some great sparring out in Germany, in Hamburg, Germany, with some of the top amateur kids. And for me, he's a guy coming through who's, you know, he reminds me, I was talking to Mirko, who works with Hayemake Ringstar, and he reminds me of a young Joe Calzaghe. Very different style, but the same intensity, the same sort of mindset where no one can break his heart. No matter what you do, he's just going to keep coming. He's going to just throw everything at you. So also, MVP. We all saw last weekend Conor McGregor's very decent effort against Floyd Mayweather. But what we're going to do with MVP is something very different. We're not going to throw him in there against the very best guy in the world straight away. We're going to build his career because he wants to be a genuine world champion in boxing. He doesn't want to just jump in for a novelty factor. I believe I've seen him inspiring. Ismail Salas also is very, very, very excited about him. World 10-time kickboxing champion, undefeated in the MMA world. He has all the attributes to convert to boxing, and this is what this journey is going to be. So, and obviously O'Donnell, Mucha as well, another great, welterweight fight for the English title, the British title eliminator. O'Donnell's at 32-1, 16-1, a real fight. This fight's going to be action-packed. So for people, if you don't get tickets to the fight, you can tune into the fight, live on Dave. People will get a great night's entertainment, and that's what I wanted of this first event. I wanted to make sure that we wanted to set the tone for the events moving forward. And I believe everybody who's heard about the lineup is very, very happy. And that's my promotional spiel done. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And I know, the boxing purists are thinking, okay, what's this big guy? How good is this guy? Well, you're going to find out on October 20th.
Well, Don Charles, you're going to be the chief strategist in the corner for the top of the bill event, coaching Ian Lewison. When this fight was put to you for a man of Ian's ability and experience, facing a man making his professional debut, what were your thoughts, first of all, and how keenly did you take the contest?
Yeah, first and foremost, I would like to congratulate David Haye with his new setup as a promoter, Hayemake Ringstar. And then I must also thank him for giving us this opportunity in the sense that when Steve Goodwin called me and told me that Joy Joyce is making his debut, professional debut, and they've elected to fight my guy Ian Lewison, I said, Steve, are you kidding me? He said, no, I'm being straight up. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. I said, I was expecting him to say next week or week after, because that's what we usually get for this young man here. This is, I must say, I've been working with you for 5 years.
Yeah.
This is the longest notification we've got for any fight. This guy has contested for the British title. We had 4 weeks for that one, okay? We never get given this kind of notice. So I'm still scratching my head every day I wake up. Is this for real, in the sense that nobody gives us this sort of notice? So, yeah, I must thank you guys for your braveness in making such a decision. It's either a very naive decision or you're very, very clever guys, or both. So basically, yeah, what can I say except for we're going to take this opportunity. I wouldn't have definitely not chosen to fight Ian Lewison for your debut. I know Joy Joyce, I respect George, is an Olympian. In my opinion, he actually won gold at Rio. He got, I think everybody saw it, he got denied of his gold medal. But look what Amir Khan has done with his silver, because he too won silver. And look what he did with silver. So I'm hoping for Joe. I wish him the best in his journey. But I'm afraid he will not be successful on the 20th of October against my guy.
Just elaborate on that before we move down the table and hear from Joe's manager, Adam Morley. Again, it is a very steep learning curve that Joe's being presented with. Why are you so confident that your man's going to come out on top? How do you ensure that the experience that Ian has is the significant defining factor on the night? What strategy do you put in place to make sure that Ian's experience comes to the fore?
I can't go into detailed strategy and say I'm sure they're the same. The fact is, I've actually followed Joe's career as an amateur. I'm a boxing coach first and foremost, but I happen to specialize in heavyweights. I know Joe more than Joe knows Joe. It's my duty, it's my job to study him. So therefore, without being arrogant, I just can't see what he can do to be effective against my guy. Not against Ian Lewison's style, no. He's a renowned puncher. yeah, is a renowned puncher. This guy comes to fight. That's why they call him Lay Him Out Lewison. He's very exciting. Okay, so I just can't work it. I'm just hoping that you guys, after today, please don't suddenly say, oh, you know, something's happened, you can't fight. All right? Please turn up on the 20th. At first, I was a bit insulted that they actually, because I rate this guy highly. I rate him high. This heavyweight, Ian Lewison, I rate him very highly. It's almost an insult that they've elected to fight Ian Lewison as a debutant. Then I've taken it. You know what? It is what it is. We've got to make sure that we present ourselves. We've been given adequate notice, so we have to capitalize on that. Strategy, I'm not going to go into because it is what it is. They've got their own strategy, so it wouldn't be right for me to start. The strategy is to go in and knock him out.
Okay. We'll turn to Adam Morley now. He's the manager of Joy Joyce, the gentleman in the blue suit to my left. Adam, as part of the Brains Trust that is mapping out the career of Joy Joyce, the Commonwealth champion, the Olympic silver medalist, why choose such a formidable opponent for Joe's professional debut? All the Olympic medalists who have come from the Olympic ranks representing Great Britain. Lennox Lewis boxed for Canada, but represented Great Britain as a pro. His Olympic debut, his pro debut wasn't this steep. Nor Audley Harrison, nor David Price, nor Anthony Joshua. So why such a challenging bout for Joe's professional debut?
Well, look, I think the difference with Joe is, firstly, you know, we've taken this decision not lightly. We've spoken to Joe's coach, and Joe's a tremendous talent. We want to get that out there as soon as we can. It's not, you know, I heard what Don said. It's not intended in any way to be disrespectful that we're looking to fight Ian straight away. I think it's a sign of our confidence in Joe. I mean, I don't think Anthony Joshua had a 10-round fight until his 9th fight or 10th fight. So we believe in Joe. We think he can go out there straight away, and we want him to light it up and for people to say, hey, that guy is a real contender for the next heavyweight championship of the world, and push him that way so he can get there quicker than would be ordinary for a novice. As David said, Joe's had 15 World Series of boxing fights. He's sparred world champions. He's going to spar another world champion now. He's getting trained by the man who's brought on some of the most incredible world champions of all time. And yeah, we think with Joe, he's going to go the distance. The reason why we like a 10-rounder is Joe gets stronger and stronger as the fight progresses. And, you know, I think it's going to be very exciting on October the 20th for people to witness his arrival with a quality opponent. I mean, if you start as a novice fighting people in 6-rounders against people who, you know, aren't so respected, people will say, well, he was only fighting so-and-so, he was only fighting so-and-so. Want to start as we mean to go on. Joe means business. October the 20th is an important night for him. And, you know, from our perspective, I sat down with David and with Ishmael Salas, and we looked at all the potential opponents there could be. We've got great respect for Ian Lewison, who's a real solid professional. You know, our only concern was what we'd heard about whether or not Ian was going to turn up. So from our perspective, as long as Ian turns up, that's great for us.
Well, let's turn to the man who will be in the opposing corner against Joe Joyce as he makes his professional debut, and that man is Ian Lewison, nicknamed Lay 'Em Out, from Miguel's Boxing Club in Brixton, South London, England international, distinguished international amateur career, solid career as a professional. You've had more notice than you've ever received for a fight in your professional career to date. What type of difference is that going to make to your performance? And I suppose before we answer that question, what were your thoughts when you found out and discovered that you were selected as the opponent for a man making his debut in the professional ranks?
No, to be fair, when I first heard it, I was like thinking to myself, is he really going to choose me for his first fight? And I kind of took it as an insult, but to be fair, I wanted to give him a beating for that alone. But as it stands now, I owe him a beating for making me get here so early today. And honestly, in all honesty, I see this fight, they refer to him as the Juggernaut, but anyone who reads comics and knows about superheroes knows that it's once the Juggernaut starts moving, he can't be stopped. But the fact is, he ain't going to get in his rhythm to start moving. I'm going to lay him out before that happens. And that's where the term lay him out comes from, and it will be. I'm going to come down upon him like one of the wraths in the Bible. You're going to hear about it. All I can say to you is come the 20th, you better put some lamb's blood above your door. So I'm coming for you, mate.
And given that you've had so much notice, more notice than you've had to this point in your professional career, what type of difference is that going to make to your performance come fight night?
No, it will make a big difference, but as it's been stated and as it's known, I've never really had much notice. And you know what, I've taken fights, had fights, and it is what it is. But this fight here, I know who I'm fighting. I've had adequate time to train for that opponent. So bearing that in mind, knowing that I was training for one specific opponent with time, I think they've made the worst mistake they could have made was giving me time and motivation. The motivation being they chose me for their first fight, which I see as an insult. So I'm just working with the cards I'm dealt, and the cards I'm dealt is I've got him on the 20th and I've got time to train for it.
Well, Joe, I know you're a man who likes to do his talking inside the ring to let your performances and your fist do the talking for you. But first of all, how excited are you about making your professional debut? And then your thoughts on facing such a formidable, experienced opponent for your first outing under the pro lights?
Well, yeah, it's exciting stuff. I can't wait to get back in the ring. It's been since the Olympics where I last fought. And, it's a challenging opponent in Ian Lewison. But, with my new training and sparring, I feel that I'm confident in, going into a bit of the deep end. But I'm a good swimmer, so I think I should do well.
All joking aside, you've been the 5-round distance against elite fighters. That's what World Series Boxing's all about, in case you're not aware. It's the 5-round format going against the top boys from the Olympic ranks. And they go over 5 rounds, and I've covered most of Joe's contest in that particular competition. And what was noticeable was that as the contest went on, Joe did indeed get stronger and would wear out the elite amateurs, who would generally be gassed by the pace that he set and the punches he's landing over the first 3 rounds, and he'd go to town in rounds 4 and 5. But here, Joe, that's only the halfway stage. So we know you get stronger, but potentially there's another 5 rounds to go. How prepared are you to go that extra distance? We know you're doing in training, but as any of these men will tell you, training, sparring and training and boxing under the lights on the night is a different thing. So how confident are you can go the 10-round distance if necessary?
Well, I'm confident in my training and my ability, and I think I'm known for my engine, so I can handle like 12, 15 rounds, no problem. So, it should be good.
Ian's suggesting that your nickname's a juggernaut, but he's not going to let you get any time to establish momentum or rhythm. How prepared are you for an onslaught from a pressure fighter of Ian's renown?
Well, I'm an experienced fighter now. I've been to many major tournaments and also the World Series of Boxing. So with that experience I've gained, I'm going to know what to do with Ian Lewison.
Well, we look forward to it. That is top of the bill, October the 20th, live on Dave Television, part of the UK TV family of broadcasters. Tickets will be available they're available today on O2 Priority. They're then available from Friday from the website www.o2 or the02.co.uk. www.the02.co.uk. Tickets available from Friday and from today on O2 Priority. Topping the bill on this Hayemake Ringstar promotion is a heavyweight attraction, 10 3-minute rounds between the Olympic silver medalist Joy Joyce and the veteran from South London, Ian Lewison, British title challenger in his last contest. And that promises to be a cracking event that kicks things off on Dave TV, the partnership with Hayemake Ringstar. So let's turn our attention to the title bout that is on the bill, and that promises to be an absolutely cracking contest for the English welterweight title between the former Commonwealth champion and current English welterweight champion. That's John O'Donnell out of Shepherd's Bush, part of the fighting family O'Donnell, and his opponent, Tamuka Mucha from Reading. Promised to be a cracking contest, billed as a 50-50 fight, and also, as well as being for that coveted English strap, it is a final eliminator for the British title, currently held by the world-rated Bradley Skeet. So John, let's turn to you first of all. Veteran in the game, 31 years of age, 32-2, faced just about everybody there is in and around your level. How excited are you to be back in the domestic title mix, not only defending your crown, but one win away from challenging for the Lonsdale belt?
Yeah, first I'd like to thank David Haye and my manager Steve Goodwin for getting me on this fantastic show. Yeah, as you said, I've been around a long time, and I said I packed it in for a couple of years. I come back a couple of years ago, just looking forward to getting that British title. One win away from it now, so close. Just get this fight out of the way, October 20th, and I'm there.
And you're talking about one win away. You're saying that you're there, but how do you rate the challenge that Mucha brings to the ring?
I'll be honest. I haven't seen too much of Mucha. Obviously, the name has come up a few times. We were supposed to fight on a couple of occasions, and it never come off. Thankfully, he's took it this time. He's signed the contract. It's happening. I see a couple of rounds him against Paddy Gallagher. He's tough. He's rugged. He's fit, but I've seen it all before. I've done it all. You know, he brings nothing new to the table. I've dealt with it before, and I'll deal with it again.
Well, Tamuka, how big an opportunity does this represent for you? Going in with a slick stylist like John O'Donnell, not only for the English title, but again, a final eliminator for the British title, which Bradley Skeet may or may not vacate, but that's irrelevant at the moment. You're one win away from getting in the ring and fighting for that British title. And of course, if you do so, you would be the English champion as well. How excited are you about this opportunity that presents itself on October 20th?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Hayemake Ringstar for having me on the show. And I'm very excited about the opportunity. It's a great opportunity for me, and I think it's coming at the right time. I'm in the right head and mindset for this fight, and I'm very well prepared for it. So come fight night, I'm definitely going to look to take advantage of this fight and win the title, and also go for the British title afterwards. I'm young, I'm fresh, and I'll be looking forward to the fight.
16-1 is the record that Tamuka Mucha brings to the boxing ring. We've already established John's out of Shepherd's Bush in West London. Just give us a little bit of insight as to where you're preparing, how your preparations are going, and how you're going to get yourself in prime condition, tactically and physically, for fight night on October 20th.
I'm back preparing in Reading, you know, working with people that know me well, people that know how I used to box as an amateur, and I felt like I was deterring myself from that fighting style a bit as I was going on and changing around coaches. So I'm working with a good conditioning coach in Joy Joyce. He's doing a good job for me, and the head coach is obviously Nathan Wood, and we're working on great technique. We're going to come on fight night, and we're going to be prepared for the fight, and we're going to showcase something different, different style, a style that's going to be exciting for the fans, and that's going to give. That might end up still in the show. So it's going to be a great night of boxing, and I definitely know that the fans will be greatly entertained.
Well, that's what we're looking forward to with keen anticipation. A title fight on this Hayemake Ringstar promotion, October the 20th, live on Dave Television. The English welterweight title between the reigning defending champion John O'Donnell from Shepherd's Bush and the challenger 16-1 Tamuka Mucha from Reading. And of course, it is a final eliminator, not just an eliminator, a final eliminator for the British title, currently held by the world-rated Bradley Skeet. So, that's the two main bouts that we've dealt with here on the top table for that October the 20th show live on Dave Television. Going to introduce a man making his professional debut now, down at the end of the table. We all recently were bombarded with the build-up and indeed the fight itself, the richest prize fight, well, aiming to be the richest prize fight there's ever been. That's Conor McGregor, the notorious one from UFC, the world of mixed martial arts, fought one of the best fighter of his generation, one of the greatest of all time, Floyd Money Mayweather over in Las Vegas. Michael Page, nicknamed Venom, is a multiple kickboxing world champion. He's currently undefeated in the multiple discipline sport of mixed martial arts, but yet he's preparing now to make an impact in the super middleweight ranks in the realm of professional boxing. So Michael, just introduce yourself for those who may not know your story, and you're clearly a fighting man. Why the transition from the multiple mixed martial arts discipline you've been doing to the purest sport of the noble art of boxing? Why that transition, and what impact do you hope to make?
First of all, I'd like to thank David, mainly David as well, for giving me this opportunity on David Haye and Ringstar. He's been down to the gym a few times, seen me spar, and it was definitely a lot to do with him as to why I wanted to kind of, test my skills over. I've always boxed. I've always felt comfortable boxing, but I had a different focus. I was focusing on my mixed martial arts. But now, it was the right time. I had a lot not happening in the mixed martial arts world, so I've been a bit out due to injuries, whatnot. But now I'm actually really looking forward to this opportunity. I think it's landed at the right time. I haven't stopped doing my mixed martial arts. I know a lot of people keep asking me, but I'm excited for this transition. I've seen how not to do it. So I'm going to try and take note. And I'm in the right hands. Ishmael Salas, David Haye in the gym, London Shoot Fighters, the team that I've always been with. And like I said, I've always been pushed around to box with some of the high-level boxers, and I've always felt comfortable, but just never taken it seriously. And now I'm about to take it seriously, so make sure you go and buy your tickets, because I am a show stealer. I tell you that now.
So just elaborate on that for us, Michael. What kind of performance can we expect to see when you make your debut in the professional boxing ring?
Man, take out your phones, the one and only MVP, just type it in. You'll see on YouTube, I am the show stealer. Everyone keeps underestimating the style. They're like, it will never work. Oh, you're going to have to fight with your hands up now. Man, I fight how I fight. I always have, and I always will. And I'll always come in, do damage, and just put on a show with a smile on my face all the time.
Some stories have leaked out on the boxing grapevine about spars you've had with established super middleweights. Not looking for you to disrespect anybody or cause beef up here on the top table, but how much confidence did you take from those sparring sessions that you shared with some of the top operators, not just domestically, but indeed world-level fighters in the boxing ring? Again, no legs, no arm bars, no nothing, stand-up straight boxing. How much confidence did you take from those spars?
Yeah, you take a lot of confidence, but at the time, again, my focus is different. I'm taking my boxing training so I can apply that hand speed, the accuracy that I was doing in these spars back into MMA. But like I said, the focus is different now. I'm actually coming for these people that I've been sparring. And I mean, I'm coming for these people that I've been sparring. So if you've heard the names, I'm coming for these people that I've been sparring. And I'm excited to do it. Like I said, these guys, a lot of the guys that have seen me spar, they all become believers. Straight after they see me spar, they all become believers. And I know what I can do. I know where I'm aiming for, and I don't miss shots.
What's the biggest difference that, obviously you can't use other parts of your body and your limbs, but what's the biggest difference? What's the biggest impact and adjustment you're having to make? Is it physically? Is it transition? Is it strategic-wise? What impact is it changing on your body and the way you throw the shots? How are you finding these adjustments, and how significant are they?
It's definitely physical. I am tired. I'm telling you, working your body differently, it is what it is. I think it would be the same for a boxer going into mixed martial arts. I'm just working my body differently. I'm not used to doing it that way. And this is why I appreciate boxing. I've always been a fan of boxing. Some of the legends, and I'm a stylish boxer. I'm a stylish fighter, shall I say. Pernell Whitaker is my guy. You know, all those kind of styles. Roy Jones, those kind of styles. I love entertaining styles, and that's me. But I do not take boxing for granted. It is a very tough sport, very stressful on the body. And for me, I'm enjoying the change. I'm enjoying the challenge that boxing brings to the table. The main difference, and I always say, it's like I'm a sprinter and I'm trying to be a long distance runner right now. So it's the same muscles, but like I said, working slightly differently. So it is going to be hard. And sometimes I get back from training, I'm like, am I sure I really want to keep doing this? But like I said, I know what I can do in this sport, and I'm going to show the world.
You can see that first outing on October the 20th live on Dave Television as part of the Hayemake Ringstar promotion at the Indigo Theatre at the O2 Arena. Tickets available from today on O2 Priority and from Friday on www.theo2.co.uk. The debut in the noble art of boxing for the mixed martial artist Michael Venom Page, nicknamed MVP, and looking to make a significant impact in the 12-stone super middleweight division, where Britain has such a long, rich tradition.
Get your tickets.
And there's another man who will be making his bow in the super middleweight division, and that young man is Willie Hutchinson from Scotland. He'll be fighting in the 12-stone ranks of the super middleweight weight class, and I was in St. Petersburg, Russia last year to see this man be crowned as the world youth champion. And let me tell you, it was an absolutely sensational run through to the championship gold 5 wins out of 5, where he beat the Cuban in the first contest. He was seeded number 3. Then he beat men from Hungary and Venezuela before beating the 3-time European champion, the number 2 seed from Ireland, Michael Nevin. And then in the final, he beat the number 1 seed from Kazakhstan, which was one of the best contests I've had the privilege to commentate on. That young man is Willie Hutchinson. He's moved down from Scotland to base himself around the corner at David Haye's Archers, where he's training under the tutelage of Ismail Salas. I was just out at the World Amateur Boxing Championships in Hamburg last week. This man was sparring with the senior elite boys, those who had just been eliminated or indeed getting ready for their bouts in that incredibly tough tournament. And here he is now getting ready to make his professional debut on October the 20th as part of this Hayemake Ringstar promotion. So, Willie, the vest and head guard have come off. How excited are you to make your professional debut on this show on October 20th?
Well, I'm very excited for my first fight, like since the World Championships. I can't wait, really. Like you say, no head guards, small gloves, a little punch. Should be good. I'm looking forward to it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's going to see what I'm all about. I'm only young. I'm hungry, and whoever knows me knows the score, what I'm all about. So, get your tickets.
And for those who don't know you, for those who do see you ascend to the highest pinnacle of amateur competition by winning that World Youth Championships, I know what you're about, but why don't you tell the assembled media here and those watching on the live streams as to what you are all about? How would you characterize your style? What can we expect to see as you make the transition from the amateur code through to the professional ranks?
Well, basically, I adapt 5 different fights with 5 different opponents, tall, small, medium, large, and I adapt, and it's as simple as that there. And you'll all see in my first fight on the 20th of September, and you'll know all about who's the Hutch trainers. Choo choo.
And when we were speaking out in Hamburg during those World Championships, you were just talking about the difference between the 2 codes and what you've been learning under the tutelage of Ismail Salas.
Yeah.
Just again, elaborate for the assembled media here as to the type of things you are learning and how big the difference is between the 2 codes, even though ostensibly they're the same sport.
It's unbelievable, really. Like, there's little things what you would never believe in the amateurs. Like, when I've been working with Salas and actually Miko Wolf, like, I've learned so much. Like, in these past couple of months, it's been unbelievable. The difference, it's weird, man. It's a different style altogether than professional and amateur. And I fit right in with it. And I'm just learning. And that's all there is to it, really.
Well, we look forward to seeing you unleash what you've been learning on October 20th. No opponent has been named as of yet, but remember, we're going to have 2 debutants, Michael Venom Page and Willie Hutchinson, in separate bouts, I hasten to add, in the super middleweight division. Then we've got the title fight between John O'Donnell, the defending English welterweight champion, and the challenger from Reading, Tamika Mucha. And we've got the top of the bill event, the heavyweight showdown over 10 3-minute rounds between the professional debutant, one of the most decorated great British boxers in the amateur ranks of all time, that is Joy Joyce, Olympic silver medalist, squaring off against Ian Lewison, British title challenger with more notice than he has ever had to this point in his professional career. So it promises to be an absolutely sensational event. Tickets available from today on O2 Priority and from Friday on www.o2.co.uk. So we've heard what the assembled guests at the top table have had to say. We'll open up the floor now. Any questions from the media members here in attendance ahead of this Hayemake Ringstar promotion on October 20th? Any questions from the media members, please? Yes, sir.
Thanks for the question. Basically, the question was how confident I am that Ian, the big puncher that he is, if he detonates on Joe, you know, in his first fight, what will happen. I've seen Joe get hit with big shots before, and he's never been knocked out in the amateurs. I think he got stopped on your feet once after he came out cold. But, as you said, this is what makes boxing exciting and entertaining. I know if he has a nice warm-up going into the fight, once the train starts going, there's no issues. For me, I've always respected Ian. You know, we've actually sparred with each other on many occasions, and he always gives a great. I've never once knocked him down, and I've knocked down most sparring partners that I've sparred. He's got a great chin. That's why I believe this fight will be great, because both guys can take a shot, both guys can throw a big shot, and for me, the 15 fights in WSB was the key for me. You know, because he wasn't fighting guys in guys who came to lose. These guys were the elite amateurs. If you pick a guy out of the Olympic Games, the Funds Olympic Games, or even in the Olympics, what it's taken for them to get there, they have to be first, the best in their country. Then they have to win numerous international tournaments to be considered a place in the Olympics. And this is the guy. This guy's been fighting non-stop over 100, international bouts, and you can't make that up with 6-rounders, 4-rounders against guys journeymen. For me, he's an elite fighter, but you guys don't know that yet. After you see the fight on October 20th, I guarantee you your opinion of Joe change, and you'll then see what I see now. A lot of people think it's a bit of a crazy move you're making, but it's because you don't know what you don't know, and I know, Joe knows, Ismail Salas knows, Adam Morelli knows, everybody in the team knows, because we've seen it. And if you look at a lot of the fights aren't online, but believe me, when that first bell rings, you're going to get yourself a great night's entertainment, because Ian's going to be in shape. Don Charles is going to make sure he's in good shape. One thing about Don, he makes sure his boys are working hard. So the longer the fight goes, the better it is, I believe, for Joe. So Ian's going to really need to come out all guns a-blazing if he's got any chance in this fight. But even if he does, he's been working on his defence day in, day out with Ismail Salas. Ismail Salas trained Regondo, he trained Casamayor, he trained some of the best, slickest Cuban fighters. He's working with me daily. I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. And I've seen what he's been doing with Joe, and if Ian believes he can go out and hit him on the chin, well good luck. Well, good luck to him, because it's going to be a tough night. But you guys are going to enjoy it. Everyone who buys a ticket, everyone who tunes in on Dave are going to get a great night's entertainment. So it's a long answer to your quick question, but tune in October 20th. It's going to be great.
Get your tickets.
Pardon? Yeah, I'm going to be fighting again for sure. Yeah, before the end of the year.
But you know what? One thing I can guarantee is that it's going to come out of this fight, though. Yeah, it's going to test David's promotional skills, because after I beat him, we're going to see how he comes back and how he reinvents Joe after this. So we are definitely going to test his promotional skills.
I'm up for that. A lot of promoters. A lot of promoters invest a lot of money in fighters and then want to just completely protect their investment. But I don't realise by protecting it, it won't flourish, or it will take a lot longer to flourish. We don't have the luxury of time. When Anthony Joshua turned professional, he was 24. Was he 24 years old? He was very young. He was a baby in boxing terms. This guy is going to be 32 when he steps in the ring on October 20th. He's seasoned. He's conditioned. He's not going to get any bigger. He's not going to fill out. He is what he is, and he's been working literally. You'll see. I don't want to scare anybody, but this guy, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is the real deal. And if I've paid a lot of money for this man's services, and you're going to see why on October 20th.
Wow, he's starting to worry me now.
Just make sure you turn up.
I'm starting to second guess now.
But that's why you can see the confidence. That's why a lot of promoters would have tried to sneak in 3 weeks' notice, 4 weeks' notice, trying to hope that you're sitting on the couch. but I wanted to make sure that you was in shape. I've got respect for you as a fighter, as a human being, and I want to make sure that when the fight happens, you're in great shape, Joe's in great shape, and we have a fair fight.
But you know what, on that sense, in the sense of like the time given, I can't fault him on that. He gave me adequate notice. Everything in that sense was done rightly, and I'll have to shake hand for that on David, because like he stated already, it's always been a case of late notice fights, and I've been given adequate notice. Therefore, going into this one, there's going to be no excuses. But one excuse I can promise you will never hear from me is I overtrained. But if you get the pun. Yeah, but getting into this one, it definitely will be a good and exciting fight. But I definitely applaud David and his team for giving me adequate notice to make it an exciting fight.
Thank you.
And secondly, sorry, can I add as well? Yeah, I've also started a GoFundMe page, which is for Great Ormond Street Hospital. You can make donations via my Twitter or my Facebook page if you can do that to help children in Great Ormond Street Hospital. Thank you.
So we've heard from Ian and Don as to how they think the fight is going to go. We've heard from yourself and Adam and Joe as to how you think the main event, the heavyweight attraction, is going to go. If it goes the way you're hoping it will and predicting it will, where on earth does Joe go next? Which is a real statement of intent you're making here on this debut. If he gets the victory over Ian, he's automatically in the mix for area and British titles. So, where next?
You know, you've got guys like Dave Allen, who's pretty much said he's not really interested in this fight. There's not that many sort of guys in and around the division that are of Ian's standard. So the only way is up. You can't go backwards. We've got to start maybe looking at former champions. Start maybe looking into America, into Europe. But one thing you can guarantee: all the fights will be exciting. And I'm looking at Commonwealth titles, British titles, as soon as possible. Once you've seen Joe on October 20th, you'll then think, okay, how would he get on for the British title? How would he get on with the Commonwealth title? I believe he's ready for those right now. But this, for me, is a middle gap between fighting for those titles. So after you see the fight on October 20th, then we're gonna, if the fighters will fight. The only issue I've got with Joe is people actually wanting to get in the ring with him. Listen, contact Anthony Joshua, contact Hughie Fury, contact anybody sparred and say, do you think this guy will be champion one day? And I don't believe any of them will say no, because they've tasted it and you don't know it. It's one thing watching a video and watching a YouTube clip of someone. There's another thing when this 6'6", 18-stone unit is coming at you. So it's a whole different world, and you have to experience it to understand it. And Ian hasn't experienced it before, but although Joe hasn't experienced an Ian Lewison trying to lay him out. So that's what makes this event and this fight so intriguing. It's the unknown. People don't know what Joe has. I do, but people don't know. That's why it's going to be an intriguing battle.
Most certainly. Top of the bill on October the 20th from the O2 Arena on this Hayemake Ringstar promotion. Ian lay him out Lewison against Joe Juggernaut Joyce over 10 3-minute rounds is the main event. So again, ladies and gentlemen, any more questions from the floor, please? Yes, sir.
We'll see on October 20th. If it goes how we're anticipating, that's a possibility. Fighters have won titles world titles in under 10 fights before. So I believe take fight by fight. We watch how he performs. If he performs how we anticipate him performing, then that's a strong possibility. I don't want to start making unrealistic timelines right now before he's had one fight. Take it fight by fight. We've got our own plan of what we want from him. Him, as long as his coach is happy, as long as his management team are happy, we're going to guide him whichever way we believe is best for him stylistically. And regarding titles, there are plenty of them out there. And for instance, we've got Hughie Fury and Joseph Parker fighting for the WBO title. Deontay Wilder, he's fighting soon. Anthony Joshua, I think one of the titles may be stripped from Joshua soon. So, there's plenty of titles out there. It's just figuring out which route is the right one for Joe. You know, but that's it. Although he's 32, you know, I don't believe there's a crazy rush. We don't feel like there's a rush, but I don't think we need to rush him because he's going to just be walking through quality opposition in a real spectacular manner. And I think the public are going to demand these fights, not from us. We're not the ones going to be pushing. People will be saying, okay, if it goes how I anticipate with Ian Lewison, then you guys are going to say, okay, how about him? How about him? And then it's all about sort of moving in the right way. We're not going to try and go too fast too soon. And that sounds crazy after what I've announced today, but there's no, as far as I'm concerned, you know, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes. He's in great shape. He's got no miles on the clock. He's athletic. He can do a backflip. He's keeping up with everybody in the gym in terms of training wise. You know, for a big guy, most big guys aren't athletic. They can't run. They can't jump. They can't keep the pace going. But I don't know how he does it, but somehow he does it. And I believe that's the difference between Joe and the rest of the heavyweights on the planet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry, heard a lot from David today. It's not the David Hay show. I remember you said that David had one.
Yeah.
But I want to hear from Joe. Really, I want to see what's your motivation and are you confident? Because we've heard from David, and we know he's a good talker already, and he's got the game. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your viewpoint is, how you feel this fight going to come out. Because, as you know, you've been hit by lesser opponents and knocked down. When Ian hits you, I really want to see how you will react. Have you got the heart for it?
Yeah, I've definitely got the heart, and I've definitely got the engine, and I've got the motivation and the focus and, you know, determination to, you know, carry out my goals. So it'll be interesting and entertaining, and yeah, I can't wait to, you know.
Well, your engine's only been for 5-round fights, so
Yeah.
I mean, 5 rounds is still quite difficult. But I've seen your fights, and you've got a good engine for that. But potentially, you could go to deep waters here and get hit a lot harder than you've ever been hit before. Have you got the heart to go through that?
Well, we'll soon see, October 20th.
Any more questions from the floor? Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you said I picked up a niggly little injury. I was supposed to box this weekend as it happened. But yeah, I'm over that now. Training's gone good. It's gone well. I can't wait. I can't wait to get in the ring come October 20th, and you'll see I'll put on a good show.
Okay, well, that concludes the formal part of the press event here this morning. Thank you all very much indeed for taking the time out of your schedules to attend.